He said, please don't ever touch me ever goddamn second-rate whore.
Speaking of second-rate whores, let's not. Well, hello, welcome back to an episode of Love Deployment. So, as for my finances, this year is going to be terrible. So I'm thinking, because say if you become like an adult and you go and you try to buy a house, they demand to see your bank, am I saying that right? Your bank statements. So it's just like, I was actually really good for a little bit of like making a really nice professional looking bank statements, but now they have bombed. Now my bank statements are completely just wild and ridiculous, random purchases, not consistent, and that's really not good for the boy, because I'm thinking about maybe 20, no, that one already passed. 2035, maybe like a decade, maybe like 10 years from now, because I'm trying to be like realistic with it. I want to buy a house. I really want to buy a house, and I'm trying to, and I know that we're obviously, they're not going to look 10 years in your past. They're not going to look 10 years. They're not going to look 10 years deep into your bank statements, but it's like the practice of it. It's like the practicing of my finances, of trying to get them correct, trying to understand what I'm doing with my finances. And honestly, I really do like finances. I like playing around with it. I like the numbers of it. I like figuring out what I should do with it. Like when I figured out, say this goes for anybody. It's when you're using a credit card, you're only supposed to use 30% of it. So say if you get a credit card for $300 and you're using it, and then eventually over time they bump you up to $1,200 a month limit. So it's just you're only supposed to use 30% of that $1,200. So that's $360 every single month. And it's just whoa. It's just you think that because of course you could pay the minimum, which I guess is fine. Some people kind of freak out about it. Some people don't care. But it's just what I like to do when I have a flow of income is I like to get my money. I like to use, as an example, that $360 in a month and then pay the full thing back. So there's a balance of zero. So I don't owe them. I like to use the whole amount, which is 30%, which is $360, and then pay them back the whole amount, the $360. That's what I like to do, because with credit cards, you start to pay the minimum that you can pay them, which is maybe an example, $50. And then the next month rolls around, and then you use another $360. So it's just then you're gonna owe them 360 plus 360 is 720, 360, 60 plus 60, 100 on top of it. Yeah, it's like $720, I think. So I guess you paid the minimum, so it's like 720 minus $50, so like $670. So at the end of the month of the next month, you owe them $670. So I guess I could really build up, because then the next month, like if you pay the minimum again, it's just like it keeps on building up and building up, and then eventually they're gonna come get you. You know, it's like, well, I mean, I guess we're not like back in like the 1970s or like whatever anymore. They're not gonna send people out, but they are gonna take a huge chunk out of your credit score. So when you go to buy that house and they're like, buddy, you have a 500 credit score, and you're trying to put down $25,000 for this house, get the fuck out of our bank. So when I eventually show up at the bank and I'm trying to get a home loan, you know, I want my credit score to be on point. I want my my bank statements, I want them to be on point. I want my income to be more stable than it is right now and consistent. You know, I want this truck paid off, and obviously it's going to be paid off by then. And then obviously when they look at my credit report history, it's going to show, oh wow, this man went and bought a truck with, I think at the time I had like a 470 credit score, which if you don't know, that is horrific. That is horrible. That's an awful, terrible credit score. And the people trust me enough to allow me to buy this truck. This is my truck. So it's just like, it's gonna show that's like, wow, this man had a 400 credit score at the time, and he did not miss one payment on this truck, and he fulfilled that finance of financing the truck, and he paid it off. If and when that happens, that looks so good. That looks so perfect. That looks amazing. That looks like professional as they want you to be. You know, that's what I want. But all of 2025, that's kind of all in the bucket right now, because things aren't as consistent in my job as they normally should be. But I know that in the future my job is going to be more consistent, and at the beginning of next year, then I'm going to start to begin to practice on making a perfect credit report history and a perfect banking statement. Now, when I print it out and I hand it to the loan officer, it looks professional. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like I don't know what I'm doing. You know, he's gotta know that I'm not gonna default on the loan for a home. But I can't even think of that like right now. It's actually, you know, I've been questioning myself of like, am I on the right path? I think that I'm pretty sure that like I'm on the right path, because I have future goals, and of course my future goals used to be so outlandish and so ridiculous in the future. of like, you know, having a mansion, having Lamborghinis, Rolls Royce, Bugattis, Ferraris, McLarens, maybe even a Pagani, like this rich YouTuber lifestyle. But I realize that, you know, like how teachers will tell the students of like, you know, like, oh, Jimmy, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he's like, I want to be an astronaut. And then the teacher gets real close to his face and they say, you stupid fuck, Jimmy, you need to go, you need to get the fuck out of my goddamn class and go to the principal's office and come back when you have a realistic goal. Fuck out of my goddamn class. They're kind of right. The teacher's kind of sort of right. It's kind of right. I mean, not for like an astronaut, because, you know, Elon Musk be like doing like the thing and everything like that. Get that child to college. But for me, as a security guard, I do have to like be like a little bit more realistic, and I have to realize that like my income is security, and I need to kind of like grow up a little bit, but also still have goals.